Suzanne's Paparazzi. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
All right. The other ad's not working. Okay. All right. Welcome, guys, to Sportsman. I know we've been gone for a while, just some schedule conflicts, but we thought we'd get some people together and talk a little sports because there's been some big news. So joining me like normal, is James Gonzalez. How you doing, bud?
I'm great, and it's great to see all these people once again.
All right. And then from Four Bro Radio, we got Sarge on. Sarge, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing terrific, as you guys know. So let's keep going.
All right. And then the EST of the Between the Ropes is Christy. How you doing?
I'm good. Ready to
And
talk
then our special guest, every once in a while, Callan. How you doing, bud?
It's nice to be back and seeing everybody as we get close to the holiday season, and it's great to be back with you guys here tonight.
Yes, it is. So why don't we first kick it off with some soccer? James and Callan, I know you guys have been watching. Chrissy, Sarge, I don't know if you have. I know I haven't, but Callan, what's been going on in the World Cup?
We're getting close to the end here. Obviously, Team USA being knocked out by the Netherlands in the knockout stage after the pulling out that victory over Iran to move into the second part of the tournament, though. And now we're into the nitty gritty now, where it's one match. Win or go on. Lose, you go home. And I think, though, guys, despite all the criticism, and I've read so much commentary though from Yahoo and Front Office Sports, though, about how kind of like there's like the World Cup's kind of been a disaster because of, the political side of it in Qatar and, the LGBTQ rights over there, the human right abuses, though. But I think despite all of these stuff, though, and I think, though, guys, and I think, I've told this to my parents quite often, though, during the course of the tournament, when we watch international sporting events, the Olympics, the World Cup, though, is there never controversy? But I would probably say, though, this has probably been one of the more controversial global events I've watched, though, because, again, with, Qatar's history, everything away from the field, though. But I think, though, on the field, though, this has probably been one of the most, epic tournaments so far because it's been so unpredictable because of the upsets that we've had in the group stages again, with like Australia winning, Canada finally scoring for the first time in their World Cup history. Yeah, they didn't make it through though. And then, Japan, winning, Saudi Arabia winning, Qatar going 1-2 and being ousted after their first two games where no country has ever, not gotten out of the first, the group stage round because of them not playing to their full potential. But I do think though, mainly though, from the side of Team USA, though, again, a team who we've heard a lot of chatter about because that they bombed out on qualifying for the tournament in Russia back in 2018 and how that, it was mainly, and I remember being at a watch party here locally in town with a bunch of the American Outlaws, the rowdy supporters group for the soccer clubs here. And remembering the mood leaving the bar that night after they did not qualify and they had lost to Trinidad and Tobago and on that, rainy day down there, and just remembering the emptiness because, remembering the emptiness about how this team did not play very well. But then you talk about Pulisic, you talk about people on the roster.
I agree with them. The World Cup's been, okay, go for it.
I mean, tech problems, of course. Yeah. It would not be a program without there being some sort of technical difficulty. Yeah. But, I do think, though, that this was a good step forward for this group of kids. Again, Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, and all those guys. Again, Pulisic, again, basically putting his whole body and soul on the line to score the goal that gave Team USA the win over Iran in that game where they had to win. Otherwise, this would have been almost like 2010 all over again. They would have gone home after tying all three of their matches and would have not gotten through if it wasn't for somebody wearing a number 10 jersey, a la Landon Donovan against Algeria in 2010 and now Pulisic here in 2022. But I think it was a good, it's a small sample size of 4 matches. They hung in there with Wales. They tied England, which I know was a very big ordeal. And then they obviously beat Iran and moved on, but again, got beat by a very good Netherlands side, though. And I kind of sadly expected it because of Pulisic's health. And I do think that maybe some small blame could be cast on Greg Berhalter for maybe his substitutions coming in like in the last 10 minutes. And some guys didn't play. Some guys played more than they probably should have. Walker Zimmerman was the punching bag of all the American soccer fans after game one because of him committing the foul that led to Gareth Bale tying the match with Wales. I mean, what would have that? That could have done something for them if they would have held on to win that game. But I think though it was more of where the first half was great, but again, young and inexperienced team can't prolong that for a full 90 minutes. You tie England, you keep all their big guns, including Harry Kane, off the score sheet and out of the back of the net. Then you have Iran, who was pressing at the very end, though, but he take the lead, though, and you have to, again, weather a storm of offensive flurries. And again, maybe penalties not being called for Iran because of flopping or because of maybe some small, a small touch here or there or what have you. But I think, though, Matt Turner's play in goal was great. Pulisic was great in how he had played, though. Tim Way was fun to watch, though. But I do think, though, that this is a good starting point for this, team to get on the right track again for 2026, 2024 for the Copa America being played down in South America. But certainly I do perhaps, though, question coaching a little bit. I do question, certain plays and certain stuff, though. But all around, though, the tournament's been great, though. My bracket is still somewhat intact. I need Argentina and Portugal get to the finals so we can see Messi versus Ronaldo. But at least, though, from the USA side, though, great starting point to getting the men's team back on track again. I think it was just more of a great feeling seeing them playing this year and not having to root for somebody else because Team USA didn't make it, though. But, Pulisic and this golden generation, this is just hopefully step one in the right direction of getting soccer a bit further up the food chain when it comes to the American sports, American sports fan base intake.
All right, James, you got any input? I know you've been watching.
Yeah, vaguely. The games come on early in the morning out here on the West Coast. But the interesting thing was Cristiano Ronaldo being, in a sense, benched for Portugal. They still went on to win 6-1 over Switzerland a couple of days ago, I believe. But that was just a name, and it's amazing to think, even in soccer, a thing like that can happen in football, of course, American football. But a benching like that of a known player, that's just amazing to me. And Portugal will go on to face Morocco. But I'm really looking forward to England and France. I think that's going to be a really good match there Saturday on the 10th. Netherlands and Argentina, and then Croatia and Brazil. I did pick Brazil coming in. I thought they had everything, but it's hard to go against my home and, well, one of my homes, I guess, being Portuguese. So a little bit wants me to go for Portugal as well, but England and France is definitely the match to look out to in these quarterfinals.
All right, Christy?
Been watching a little bit of it, and seeing the USA beat Iran was really cool. But and hopefully that this experience in the World Cup is a step in the right direction for Team USA. Lionel Messi benched for Argentina. I'm like, what? That's weird because he's like their superstar.
Yeah.
And then, but I picked Brazil because how can you go against Brazil? They always have great players. They're always really good every time they're in the World Cup. They're almost guaranteed to win the title every year. So every time they're there. So.
All right. Sarge, did you catch into the World Cup?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's football, right? So I am definitely watching it. But I've watched a lot of it. The thing that stuck out to me with the World Cup for the Team USA is Team USA is a very young team. And it was just about experience. This is what this World Cup was. Yeah. I expect something a little bit greater next World Cup for the Team USA men's side on that. But I cannot wait till I see the women's side because they're
always good.
They run the World Cup pretty much. But it's very weird seeing it in Qatar or Qatar. You can say it either way. It's good either way you see it. But seeing Spain and Germany out of it so early is very weird. I would have to say that one. And I just don't know how that ball with Japan is not out. I don't understand that one either. So it's kind of like icing in hockey. I don't understand it. So
So
Fair.
next World Cup is U.S., Canada, and Mexico right there hosting. So does
Canada's in it.
so
Yeah,
Mexico?
so what it is, it's going to be a triple hosted venue. So
Yeah.
there's going to be games in Canada, games in Mexico, and I think across the country. And I recall the guy saying this to a colleague of mine. If you were to look at the map of where they have potential bids right now to host the tournament in 2026 in the States,
Yeah.
go look at it. It's NFL-sized stadiums, but all of them are placed where Major League Soccer teams play. The Bay Area, Los Angeles, Houston, Dallas, Florida. They're all at NFL.
Oh, of course, leave
stadiums.
Minnesota out of it. I mean,
At least,
I do think I did see Minnesota in the running. I don't know if they put a bit, but I do think I saw them perhaps listed as a potential venue.
But when I was going to question, because I think it was Canada automatically gets a bid. Does U.S. and Mexico get a automatic bid?
If you host the tournament, you get an automatic bid.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Do you
So
know what's
there's a little pressure out the international team to, focus on games instead of trying to get into the tournament, I guess. So
Yeah, what's great about like coming to like Canada or USA or Mexico, beer sales will be there. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So let's turn into let's go to a little NFL since I got Christy on right now. Rumor has it that
she left.
oh, she left. Oh, she didn't want to talk football. Well, anyways, we're
Sure
on
she'll be
there.
back.
Typical.
So, anyways, so there's been some movement. Sarge, your former quarterback is now with the Rams. What do you think about Baker Mayfield going to the Rams or being picked up there?
Good. I'm glad he's gone. I mean, he's not a leader. I mean, like to be a quarterback in the NFL, you have to be a leader or have some type of leadership in that. And Baker Mayfield doesn't have that. There was a video of him, even as a second string quarterback, he was headbutting teammates in the head without a helmet, and his teammates were wearing a helmet. I don't get that, but Baker Mayfield, like he may be a average quarterback, but in my book, he's a bust as a number one pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. But Chris, before you got off or kicked off,
I
because
dropped my phone actually, so I had to get back on.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Talk is Odell Beckham was in Dallas
He was
visiting and stuff. What do you think?
interesting way to visit, like going to a Mavericks game and the crowd chanting for him. But I think it was like a 2-day visit. There was some concern about his knee because, as we know, he tore his ACL during the Super Bowl when he was with the Rams. But I don't know. I mean, adding him to the Cowboys would make him a little bit more would make the team a little bit more dangerous. But my fear is it would impede the development of CeeDee Lamb as a number one wide receiver because Odell Beckham Jr. is a huge personality. He generates a lot of attention, and we've dealt with those type of diva type wide receivers before, like Terrell Owens, for example.
Terrell Owens.
Exactly. We've dealt with those type of people before, and I don't know if we can deal with it again, but Jerry Jones is a gambling man, and once he sees it, he'll try and see if he can grab it.
Yeah, I
am intrigued, at least.
I don't think Dallas needs to go down that road. I mean, talent-wise, he's probably great, but yeah. James, any news coming out of Oakland or Vegas?
Vegas, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what, being the Chargers felt good. For Chandler Jones,
Chargers lose again. The Chargers lose again.
For Chandler Jones to get 3 sacks, I know they were facing a probably third string left tackle, but you are who you are, and it was good to see him get in there and frustrate Herbert along with Crosby. The defense was just making plays all over the place. Really good. They've won 3 straight. They're still out of it, but at least they're making a run. There were so many one-score games this year that the Raiders could have won that they did last year. That's the difference between this year and last year. among, coaching changes, management changes, and all that, and getting Adams, of course. Josh Jacobs has been great again. Carr and Adams have been awesome. Backup tight end was doing well too, Murnau. So back to OBJ though, real quick. I saw him in Phoenix at the Suns game.
It was in Dallas.
I guess he's just making the NBA rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I read something, he's not ready yet to play, and he wouldn't be ready in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's where I think the concern is with the knee, is he might not be ready.
Yeah. So I want to even touch him. Whoever wants to get him, I want to even touch him, and I think you should just get ready for next year.
That would be a smart move, but I don't know.
He's the LeBron James of the NFL. I mean, look how he's trying to set up himself up. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't think he's a great receiver in my opinion. He's only a great receiver because of that one catch when he was with the Giants. That's
like the most overhyped one-handed catch in NFL history, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we got the king of the bandwagon fans jumping in. Isaiah saying, "What's up, guys?"
Oh no.
Oh
God.
He's hella glad San Fran didn't claim the Ferrell talking about Beckham. He's not a leader. And then he said Odell be a Giant. He wants the fairy tale ending.
No.
I don't think the Giants will touch him.
Giants? Are you sure we're in the same sport here?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, exactly.
What sport are you talking about?
I know you're not a big football guy since Chargers moved. So you got any input on anything or what you seen?
No, I mean, if there's anything I would say though, is mainly about some of the surprise storylines, mainly the Eagles and Square One's favorite team up there in the Twin Cities, who have been somewhat surprising people. And I would even throw the Buffalo Bills in there. I think guys or everyone, a team that we probably have known, went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all 4, sadly. But now I think a team that is really showing their full potential. Again, 9-3. I think they're tied right now for the top seed with the Chiefs right now for first place for the conference standings at this rate. So I think I've been more surprised about the Bills, but mainly with the Eagles and the Vikings. And probably I lean a bit more towards the Eagles because I remember, guys, back during the COVID year that we were talking about Doug Peterson, maybe, clanking that final game against the then Washington football team when they brought Nate Sudfeld in to finish off the season. And Peterson tried to say he was still trying to win the game, but get Nate some snaps. It's like, why are you doing this in a must-win game? And somehow, some way, within 2 seasons, the Eagles turned this around. Now, will the regular season pan out? I almost want to compare the Eagles to the Boston Bruins in the NHL, a team that's won 20 of their first 24 games. I think we all know very well in sports that I'd say maybe 85-90% of the time, if you have the best overall record in your league, you're not going to do well come playoff time. Best example, how about the LA Dodgers, who won 111 games, and who beat them again? The San Diego freaking Padres beat them. So, I mean, it's good and all, though, that you're having a great regular season. But at the same time, though, if you're not panning out in the playoffs, then where it really matters most. But I would say if I'm surprised, though, my big 3 surprises, probably no order whatsoever. Eagles for sure, because they've turned this around very nicely. I would probably throw Buffalo in there as being another nice little surprise, though. And Brandon, I got to go with Minnesota. A team who I think, led by a former SDSU quarterback here in San Diego, Kevin O'Connell, and him not really having head coaching experience, for him to be able to go in there and somehow turn a switch to get this offense going for the Vikings, pretty impressive. And I really hope that the Vikes can go far come playoff time when it does roll around.
Well, I mean, my 0-4 versus 0-4 prediction still in play. Vikings have shown me that they're not a Super Bowl contending team. I don't care what the record is. And Isaiah, if you're listening, you can go tell your little buddy that too, and he can come on and debate me anytime he wants. But anyways, I'm surprised with the Vikings, surprised with the Eagles.
Miami.
Miami too. I mean, but Buffalo lost a big guy in
Von Miller.
Von Miller.
Yeah, I lost.
Well, back to the Vikings. their 2 losses have been blowouts. I mean, Dallas owned them.
That's what's a little startling.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
that's one reason. But I'll tell you one thing: if the game's close, I'm putting my money on the Vikings defense. That defense
go.
can step up in close games.
They are
They're giving
good.
us a heart attack up here in Minnesota, but
Sarge is
Yeah.
down here in full-blown disagreement.
He's all
Yeah.
like, no.
You guys can't play
No.
primetime games. If you don't play
Well-
primetime games, you guys will be perfect.
well, no, we just can't play. We can't play third quarter. I think
Right.
the
Well,
score differential
coming
third
out of the
quarter
half,
is
yeah,
ridiculous.
Well,
that's
yeah,
a
not
huge
in
thing.
Kirk
Put
Cousins.
your
seems-
second string quarterback during your primetime games, and you
Yeah.
guys will
Yeah, because Kirk Cousins seems to be
Crumble under
seems
the
to be
pressure.
allergic to primetime games for some reason. He doesn't do well.
I totally hear you guys on that. Trust me. So, everybody up here is talking about Super Bowl, and it's just like, dude, show me. I mean, you're 9-0
Better luck
in
with the
one
Lynx
score
next
games,
season.
and the games that you you got blown out in 2 games, and you blew out the Packers in 1 game.
Right.
So I don't believe they're a Super Bowl team. But
No.
Anthony's chiming in, talking about everybody's supposed story that Odell's knee is shot. Yeah, who knows? I mean,
I don't think it's
I-
shot. It just hasn't.
I think it's just the long recovery of the injury.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
yeah, I think so too.
It's just a long recovery.
All right,
Not,
so
not going to recover overnight.
Yeah.
let's get into probably the whirlwind of sports, baseball right now. I mean, they're showing the money everywhere. I mean, I'm surprised one of us hasn't got a call to get some money out of there. So, first off, guys, are we shocked that we're seeing a lot of big names signed during, or I guess before the winter meetings? Callan, I know you're a big guy.
Honestly, I've been a little surprised though, but I think though, guys, and everyone out there, this is huge though for baseball after the crap that we had to sit through for nearly 100 days last year with the ongoing lockout last season.
Yep.
And now we're seeing the money just flying around the board. And if Isaiah's rumors are true of the Padres getting Bogarts for $11 million or 11 years and $280 million, then goodness gracious, that's just more money being thrown around here by every franchise. The Phillies going out there and getting Trey Turner, and then Aaron Judge going back early this morning to the Yankees. But then other players being on the move, though. I think, though, guys, more than just the puzzle pieces being moved around the table. Again, Judge going back to the Yankees, Trey Turner signing with the Phillies, per Jeff Passan. The Padres just got Bogarts for $280 million over a 11-year contract. This is the stuff that we missed last year because the owners and the players cannot come to a compromise on the CBA. So for baseball to get back onto I'd say like a steady platform, I guess, or back on their feet after the crap show of last year, this is, I think, the perfect way to do so. And that but I think I'm more surprised, though. I think to Brandon's point, the more surprised, though, that all this has gone on since the meetings began here in San Diego at the Manchester Grand Hyatt, though, which I believe they conclude tomorrow on Thursday. But so much money has been committed, though. But I think, though, it's desperately needed because of what we had sat through last year, because of the lockout and not being able to plan to go and watch games and, what your team may or may not be doing. And this is perfect. And I still agree, though, with Sarge's name, though. Fire Rob Manfred, despite the fact of him, of what is going on right now and stuff of that caliber. But, in a nutshell, I'm very happy as a baseball fan to seeing all this offseason movement now, because it just makes what happened last year go further into the rearview mirror, because now we've got players moving, players staying put, big money is being thrown around again. Once more, breaking news again per Jeff Passan. But again, the Padres nabbed Xander Bogarts for 11 years and $280 million. Aaron Judge, $369 or $370 million with the Yankees. Trey Turner, $342 million, at this rate with the Phillies. And more than anything else, though, and I think just from the San Diego perspective here, though, is I mean, everyone always says that, and they want the All-Star game here to be
every 5 years,
10 years too, or every 5 or 10. But I think, mainly though, Brandon and James and Christy and Sarge, mainly from the San Diego perspective, though, the whole thing with Bogarts, but also though the fact though of the Padres being in on Trey Turner and being in on Aaron Judge and somehow, some way outbidding the teams that they went to, definitely, I think, now kind of in a way almost puts like a we're all in for 2023, because you do have Tatis Jr. coming back after 20 games, I think, of his suspension, because the Padres somehow, some way got to the NLCS last year.
Wow.
Which is still, it boggles my mind for a team that had, scuffled a little bit towards the end, but kept things steady all season. And then for them to go and beat the 102 win Mets, then somehow, some way, finally take down those Dodgers up in Los Angeles when it counted the most, though, and to kind of be able to hang that over their head, at least for the remainder of the offseason.
Yeah.
And then obviously, two Cinderella teams, though, meet up in the CS, though, and props to Philadelphia again. They had the better hitting in that series. They had the better pitching at that point in time, though. But mainly, though, for the Pods, though, to be in, though, on Turner, to be in, though, as well on Judge. And again, though, here the Padres outbid the Phillies and the Yankees, for heaven's sakes. And obviously, it doesn't pan out, though. But obviously, there's a commitment, though, from Peter Seidler and A.J. Preller. This is almost kind of feeling like we're all in for 2023. I wouldn't say World Series or bust, though. But it certainly is kind of feeling that way, because now you don't have to worry about Judge going to San Francisco or to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
No one in your division. He's staying put. Trey Turner moves out of your division to go to Philadelphia. So you won't have to worry about that either. So I'm not going to fully devote next season to be World Series or bust, but it certainly is building towards push all the chips into the middle for 2023. And it's honestly very good feeling to see a ball club who really, I think, turned heads in 2020. They turned, I think they turned more heads last season. Now, can you build upon that in 2023? Them getting Bogarts, them being right there and outbidding the Yankees and the Phillies for Judge and Turner. Again, not quite World Series or bust, but it certainly is a notice to the fans. Push your chips. We're going all into the middle for 2023. Gonna be fun.
Yeah, as long as you keep one guy off the Padres bandwagon, I think you guys will be clear.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Chrissy, with the news, your guy goes from Boston to San Diego. What do you think?
I mean, I'm happy for him. I wish he'd stayed in Boston, though. But
Same.
Xander Bogaerts, time for him to move on. And I guess San Diego was the right place for him to go to. So I hope he does well in San Diego. I wish him the best. He is a really good player.
Well, I know we were talking behind the scenes. Callan was trying to find a first baseman, so maybe they'll be moving some people around. So
Yeah, they could.
Sarge, your Mariners, and what's going on in the off season here?
Well, the Mariners are kind of liking the Milwaukee Brewers right now, because the Mariners signed reliever Gott, so to help bolster the bullpen, because we got rid of Swanson. On top of that, we traded Jesse Winker for Colton Wong, which actually kind of filled in the gap at second base for the Seattle Mariners. I expect the Seattle Mariners to get to the playoffs again. I don't expect them to win the division in the West again, because the Astros are now the new New York Yankees and are just reloading everyone who's on steroids. I'm not saying everyone's on steroids on that one, but it's a Western division on that one. But you know what? The Mariners are putting places together, and I'm kind of glad that the Mariners did not spend money on Aaron Judge, because they were actually in the ranking, or they were in the bidding war for him. And I mean, that would take up the whole entire salary for the Seattle Mariners, where we can get actually quality players in each position to be more beneficial. And I think it's a win for the San Francisco Giants, who did not get Aaron Judge, and I think the Yankees shot them in the foot with Aaron Judge signing.
All right. James, your Angels, and what your thoughts on the preseason of postseason, I should say, of signing?
Well, they made a few moves, but I was thinking about Christie's Red Sox, how I think today they got Kenley Jansen from the Braves, and it seems like Iglesias will be the closer there with the Braves now. Jensen is going to try it in another league, which that's
Gonna
going to
be
be interesting to see as a closer. And they also got Yoshida from Japan, the outfielder, today, yesterday or today. That'll be interesting to see. And I wonder about Devers, if he'll stick around or not. But with the Angels, though, they did trade for Hunter Renfroe, so I have both.
Love
Hunter
that acquisition.
Yeah, they he's not known for the glove, but he's known for the bat. Elvis is coming to Milwaukee there, but Big B, we made a trade, with the Twins getting Gio Urshela.
No, my goodness.
You never know about Anthony Rendon, if he's going to play or not a full season, which never is. So that's good assurance there. You can also throw him there at second base. You have Fletcher at second. The question is, will they trade Jared Walsh away, the first baseman, Joe Odell, who currently plays in left field? There's all these questions right now. They did acquire some pitching as well.
Finally.
They did get Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers. It just seems like once a starter leaves the Dodgers, who did well there, they don't do well elsewhere. Andrew Heaney was a former Angel Dodger. He's in Texas now, so we'll see him in division. The Rangers definitely did some moves, getting Jacob deGrom.
That was probably the biggest shock of the whole entire winter meeting so far.
Yeah,
was that
I
move.
heard about that. I was like, what?
Yeah, they
He's
spent
going where?
over $700 million the last two off seasons. Did the Rangers? They're going for it.
Wow.
I guess America is struggling, but baseball salaries continue to go up while we're all struggling. So it's been a good winter, and like Callan said, we kind of miss this frenzy of. That's how I think about the NBA offseason, where once that July 1st hits and the free agency opens up, anything can happen. So it's good to see MLB in that way. I always thought Judge was going to stay a Yankee. I know everybody, as they went to sleep last night, they said, "Oh, he's going to the Giants. He's from the area. His family can go to the games." But I always thought, okay, he can make whatever he wants in New York, and also he can get into the endorsement deals.
Yep.
He's already looked at as being the captain of the Yankees currently. So I never thought he was leaving. And then Justin Verlander going to Gotham to the Mets, that was a little surprising. I thought he was going to be with the Astros for the rest of his career, but Jose Abreu leaves the White Sox, which that's going to hurt them in the long run. He went to the Astros. They don't. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. I think that's going to hurt Chicago, but God, it makes the Astros stronger. And then Correa, I know there's a couple teams out there he's rumored to. It will not be the Dodgers.
No.
Twins are there. I believe the Cubs were the last team that was rumored. Wilson Contreras, by the way, went from the Cubs to the Cardinals. I don't think anybody wanted
He
to
got
see
paid
that.
5 years, too.
That's a lot.
So the replacement for the Yadier Molina is Wilson Contreras, and I didn't see that coming at all. But it's been crazy. Like Callan mentioned, it's good, though, that it's here.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy. Minnesota, biggest move they've made is appointing one of the owner's sons as now the day-to-day operation guy. So
that sounds like Little Big League.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That movie was just on a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
And they let Sanoa walk, which was a good thing. But you know, I must be on Santa's naughty list because I wanted Aaron Judge to sign here. I wanted DeGrom to sign here, bring back Correa, and I got none of that so far. So I must have, teach Santa.
The only
out
thing
somewhere.
left on my wish list is for the Padres to go get a first baseman, because with Josh Bell now in Cleveland, that does open the door maybe for a reunion with Will Myers or Brandon Drury. Maybe there's another free agent first baseman out there. But that's now their big gaping hole now that Eric Hosmer is thankfully no longer in San Diego and in sorry, Christy, but he's in Boston.
Could you see them moving Machado or Borid or to toss over to first?
I think what the plan may be, and I just actually told my dad this because I went out and told him that we just signed Bogarts to that huge contract. Is
Oh my god.
if they can't get Myers or Drury back, I think the contingent plan now is you move Cronenworth to first.
Mhm.
You put Bogarts or someone else or Kim at second, maybe. I do think though that sadly, I kind of feel like though with this move though for Bogarts, it's now a logjam of 3 shortstops between Nando when he comes back from the suspension, Kim, and now Bogarts. Someone has to be the odd man out, and I feel like it'd be Kim because he's not owed a lot of money, so maybe he's a trade chip maybe to someone else for maybe some prospects, or a pitcher maybe somewhere. So I
Possibility.
don't know though. Now you have to kind of get a little bit creative about what in fact you do now, because Cronenworth has been your everyday second baseman since he came up, came to the Padres from the Rays in 2020. He's been your everyday guy at second. So now first base is a little bit is now my main question mark. There's been some spattering of talks, maybe of them getting a catcher perhaps to replace Jorge Alfaro, who they non-tendered. He's a free agent right now. Austin Nola, battled some injuries, but I think he came on strong. Mainly though, it delivered a lot though in the postseason more than he did in the regular season. So maybe maybe the catcher, but I'm more thinking about though first base being the main onus, and obviously trying to find another perhaps starter to fill the void for Clevenger going to the White Sox.
Well, maybe he signs to no, and count him for 5 games and home run and 60 strikeouts. You ain't gonna
Big
need
D,
much.
did you see did you like the new Twins uniforms?
I think there's your answer right there.
I don't know. Let's see what they look like in the summertime. I don't know. I'm not too fond of the logo with the M and the star there.
It almost reminds me of
Miami Marlins.
That would be like a Timberwolves or Lynx alternate logo almost.
Yeah.
Star being up
Crazy.
there.
But the pinstripes on the road is awesome. That brings me right back.
The thing is right now, the Twins are talking about trading Arise, the reigning AL champion, for some pitching. It's like,
does he play first base?
He can play anywhere.
We'll take him.
Send him to San Diego.
We'll give you Kim and a couple of prospect pitchers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not upset with those. They kind of remind me just of a college style uniform right now. But again, you had nobody there to market besides Buxton. You ain't gonna get too many jersey sales on there, so it'll be interesting. So I was looking at the MLB tracker. It looks like 12 of the top 20 free agents are already signed to big deals.
And here it's only the 7th day of December, and that many guys are off the board again.
Yeah.
Like I said, this goes back to my point. Refreshing for baseball to put away what happened last year somehow in the rearview mirror. So good to see.
You have all this flurry of activity here.
And remember all of the
yeah.
I'm trying to get there.
Remember, like 5 years ago or whatever, when Harper signed, that was the time when free agents were signing in spring training. I always hated when that happened.
Yeah, that happened with Hosmer and Machado both within a year or two in San Diego. They both signed on the same date, like 2 years later. And this was like 3 days after pitchers and catchers came to camp. So now that it's being done in the winter just means that now they can get fully acclimated with their market, with the fan base, with their teammates and the city and whatnot, and not having to almost speed through, that process.
Oh, yeah.
11 years he got, really?
11 years, $280 million.
Oh, my God.
That's a lot.
He's going to be here till he's 41 per a few of my friends.
Are we going to see? Yeah. Well, I was going to bring that up. Are we going to see some more Bobby Bonilla style contracts?
I don't think so.
God, I hope not. That's
hysterical if
in my
he did, though.
opinion.
Man, Chuck Hoffman chimes in. Love you guys, Chuck. Love you too. Can't wait for Oregon Cougar women's professional football to kick off. I know J-Mac had some meetings with them, and I can't wait to see that season roll out. So
beautiful.
So we got about 10, 15 minutes left. Anything you guys want to throw out there, James? I know you always have I know this is like your AA meeting event session or whatever. So, what do you got for us?
Yeah, no one at my job really likes sports, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to form an opinion in my head, but that's about it. Anyway, the NBA is, coming up to the Christmas time games, and that's when people, I think, start, watching the Celtics, Cavaliers, Bucks, Pelicans, and the Suns. They've all been pretty hot. The LA teams up and down. Lakers have kind of been winning as of late. What could be a finals matchup, or preview, I should say. The Celtics were in Phoenix tonight, but the Celtics just ran them over, man. It wasn't even a game in Phoenix. I did catch the end of the Timberwolves game. They held on to beat the Pacers tonight. Yeah, 125-98 was the Celtics score. I mean, that was Chris Paul coming back, but that was really a shock. Utah defeated the Warriors by 1, which never happens really. But some surprises in the NBA. You got the Kings, who are good for once. It just has to be sustainable.
I'm so happy for Mike Brown, by the way.
Yeah, I think he's really he learned whatever he did with Golden State. And he's done that there with Sacramento so far. Pacers have a 5th seed. The Nets have kind of came back in. The Heat are struggling. The Bulls are as well. Looking at the Western Conference, Utah was the number 1 seed at one point, but they've fallen down to 8. The Warriors are still at 10. The Lakers at 13. Grizzlies are holding on. The Pelicans are good. And Zion is playing well, which is great to see. Sure, the Hawks have a winning record, but he and Nate McMillan are kind of fighting about the ball, and it's always about the ball. It's never really about defense with Trae Young or any arguments in the NBA, I guess. But he's trying to get another coach fired. He got Lloyd Pierce fired a couple years ago, or last year, I believe, and Nick McMillan came on. Nate is a great coach, by the way. Minnesota, trying to play well without Cat for a while. That's going to be interesting to see. The Spurs have lost 11 straight. They're, trying to tank for Wamba from France. By
the way, James, whoever would have thought that a Greg Popovich Spurs team would be losing 11 straight games?
Now, that's crazy.
I don't know, but in 96-97, remember their only losing season when David Robinson was hurt pretty much the whole year. Yeah, they were able to draft Tim Duncan the next season in that draft, and they went on from there.
Amazing how that ended up working out.
But they really need something. I know they have some developing players, but if they get Wamba, he's like Giannis, but a little more skilled and can shoot better, but not as
what is he, 7'2"?
About that.
I think 7'2" or 7'3", but this dude is shooting one-legged three-pointers. And I'm like,
he's killing it.
What the hell's going on? I know it's in France or whatever, but I can't wait to see where he's going to go. And then also in NHL, I think I read the Bruins finally lost a home game this year.
I was just going to get to that.
Yeah.
They're one of the surprising teams along with Toronto and New Jersey, I believe, is doing well, which I didn't really see coming. I forget if anything else, but the Ducks are struggling, unfortunately. The Kings and Vegas is right there. This Kraken, and shout out to them. They're right there in second in the Pacific, and that's great to see. I want them to do well up there in Seattle. That's all I got.
Sorry, Isaiah, Becky Hammond is not going to be able to coach the Spurs. She's the head coach of the WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces. So Isaiah loses again.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
All right, Callan, what about the NHL?
Yeah, James is right, though, about the Boston Bruins again. 14 wins in their first 15 home games. It just happened to be a shootout loss against their old employer, Bruce Cassidy, and the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday that ended the win streak at home. But they've been on an absolute, heater right now. They've, 21 wins in their first 25 games of the year so far, 43 points in the standings. But I am more so side with James about the Devils. A team with Jack Hughes, who is very fun to watch, though. and they have been putting up, they put up a long win streak and point streak though too. So if I would say surprises more so, I wouldn't say Toronto, because sadly, James, this happens every year though. The Maple Leafs always get up to these, promising starts though, but then usually after the All-Star break happens, they go into a bit of a rut though right before the playoffs begin. And it's always death, taxes, the Leafs losing in round one. It's been the case like for 17 straight postseasons or very, long losing streak in the postseason. But definitely the Devils are a nice surprise, though. Again, a very young team. Jack Hughes is definitely one of the, soon-to-be faces of the sport, though, with New Jersey. Boston, again, 21 wins in their first, 25 games. Tampa Bay falling off a little bit after those back-to-back, Cup final appearances. And then out west, though, I think the more surprise, though, guys, has been probably Colorado. The defending champs have been beaten up, banged up, chewed up, and spit out with, I think, 9 guys currently dealing with injuries right now.
That's crazy.
And sadly, it's been, and 3 of those guys that are hurt are all 3 of their big star players. Valeri Nichushkin is out. He had ankle surgery when the team came back from their overseas trip to Finland back in November. Gabriel Landeskog is hurt. Nathan McKinnon got hurt in their most recent game. Then they got pancaked at home by the Bruins in Denver 4-0 on Wednesday night. So their woes kind of continue a little bit. I would say I'm more surprised out west with Seattle and then Dallas and Winnipeg. Definitely the Dallas Stars, not the Dallas Jets there, Mr. Lee.
Exactly.
Because I think it's the coolest story, though, everyone in the entire hockey world, is Jason Robertson, a Southern California or California native of Filipino heritage, is leading the league in goal scoring right now. And Emily Kaplan wrote a very great story about him and his brother before they played each other on Tuesday in Dallas. His brother plays for the Maple Leafs, though, but it was a great story. And just kind of seeing that happening, though, is great, though. But Dallas has been a surprising team. The Jets have been surprising. Seattle in year 2, so far so good with them being able to, how they've turned a corner, at least in year 2 so far. But again, can a team like this, though, keep this going for the whole year? Shane Wright is finally up after his stint in Coachella Valley. Got to see him play when they came to San Diego, but they've been a little bit, up and down for the most part. But hey, the 15 wins, 7 losses is not bad again. And right now, the two newest clubs are right now 1 and 2 in the Pac division between the Golden Knights and the Kraken. And one more note, though, guys, Tag Anderson of the Buffalo Sabres, by the way, I got to give him some credit here. He put up 4 goals in the first period, and Buffalo absolutely trucked the Blue Jackets 9-4 in Columbus. He had 4 goals in the first period. I think he finished with he scored, ended up having 5 goals in the game, and they beat the Blue Jackets 9-4 in Columbus. And by the way, Isaiah, it's Jordan Eberle, not Jack Eberflus.
Thank you.
You sent me down. I was like,
Thank you.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, "What the heck is Isaiah saying? What's he talking
It's
about?"
not even called the MVP trophy either, Isaiah. It's the Hart Memorial Trophy.
Yep.
Stop insulting
So,
my sport.
before I get to Sarge, who has a bigger losing streak, Isaiah or the San Antonio Spurs right now?
Isaiah.
Isaiah, because it's year round. It just
Yeah, it just keeps
All
going,
right, Sarge,
going,
what
and
about-
going, and going, and going.
What about
right.
your Kraken there and stuff?
So, Isaiah, I'm just going to say this right now, man. Leave my Seattle teams out of this. That's all I'm going to say right here, right
Leave them
now.
out of my
Exactly.
mouth.
The Mariners last season. Now you're talking about my Kraken. Because
And
us
leave
Krakens
the
are at
one
the crack
remaining
house.
and please leave the one remaining Big 4, Big 5, Big 6 sports team in San Diego out of it too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mm.
there you
I'm
go.
just asking Isaiah, just please. I mean, the Kraken, they had a horrible season last year as being an expansion team and so
Yep.
forth because they couldn't accomplish what the Golden Knights could have done.
And
with
they
that one.
even said we're not going to try to be Vegas.
That's true. They did.
The Knights set the bar. That's never going to be broken,
Yeah,
sadly.
never. Not even close.
Exactly. And with the Kraken, I'm not trying to be biased or anything. I think they have one of the best sports logos that's out there right now
It is
for
pretty cool.
NHL and so forth. But man, I love the NHL. I fell in love with back into the NHL last season during the playoffs because it was crazy nuts and it was awesome to watch. And NHL is the number 2 sport underneath baseball. But the Ducks, they're missing Gordon Bombay. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
if you
really
watch
need him,
if
don't
you
they?
watch the new Mighty Ducks series, that their new coach might be giving my Bay some trouble there. So
I know, but I kind of love the. I'm kind of liking the New Jersey Devils right now because I believe it was the fans who were chanting "We're sorry" to the head coach because the fans wanted to like the head coach to be fired and everything
Mhm.
else, and all of a sudden the the Devils are just winning, and the fans chanted in the entire arena and saying, "We are sorry."
Oof.
To
That's
the head
awesome.
coach.
So cool.
I think that was awesome. It spoke volumes and all that. And you know what? I'm a crackhead. I'll admit it.
well, maybe Arizona fans need to start chanting, "We want you to move" or something. I mean,
No.
Well, I
yeah.
was actually going to get to that point, though. Brandon, is that actually news came out that the Tempe City Council approved the plans to build that $2 billion arena
Really?
and district in the Tempe area, and there's also a 30-year non-relocation agreement that the league is going to give the Coyotes too. So, regardless what anyone thinks, though, I'm actually happy to see this finally come to fruition for the Coyotes because
Nope.
they've tried to make it work. I know they're playing in a 5,000 seat arena, but
Yep.
hey, my team played in one in Irvine, California during COVID in 2020, albeit without fans though. But they're trying to make it work, and I think this is probably, and I hope that this does work though. But they're not going anywhere for at least the next 30 years, whether we like it or not. And maybe eventually it'll come to fruition though. But seeing that team, and again, this is coming from someone who has seen a franchise leave their hometown, so maybe I'm a little bit more lenient towards it. I just don't want to see any other teams other than the Oakland A's move out of their current situation to go elsewhere because of what those teams mean. And I know the Coyotes don't have the richest of histories, unlike what Isaiah said about them being a iconic franchise. Several about a year or so ago, but that they deserve to be there. Those fans who are trying their part to support the game, grow the game down there in the Valley of the Sun. I hope that it works out, and I'm actually glad, and I'm really glad to see that they got that legislation passed. Though now it's on the voters to say yes, and it sounds like they're going to come May, and after that 30 years they're going to be in Arizona for at least the next 30 years with that non-relocation agreement in place.
All right.
You know what? Those southern states should not have NHL teams. If you cannot make ice outside, you should not have a NHL team.
Miami.
And yet though, California had 2 outdoor. Technically, they had 4 because they had 2 games in Lake Tahoe, and then they had the outdoor Stadium Series games with the Ducks and Kings in LA. Then they had the Kings and Sharks play at Levi Stadium. They made it work.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, sorry,
Amazing.
but I don't get it. So,
Yeah.
one last thing before we get going here. Prime time's going to Colorado.
Oh my God, you, Dion.
I know there's been a lot of controversy with his little tweets out there or videos. Something about telling the players that they don't want to be here, go into the portal.
Yeah, the
something like
transfer
that. Yeah. So what do you got, James? I'll start with you. What do you think of that?
Well, I'm very happy for him. And he took a big risk, leaving the
Jackson State
analyst desk there at NFL Network and wherever else, to even coach college. And yes, it was Jackson State, but he made it where I was watching those games whenever they were on. I think on Saturday, I think they were playing Southern University. Absolutely destroyed them, did Jackson State. And I was watching it because I started to hear rumors about, he's going to get the Colorado job. I'm thinking, Colorado?
Yeah.
I bet he hasn't, stepped in the state of Colorado and, since he played, regularly in the NFL. But it's good for the Pac-12 because right now, I should say in 2024, they're losing USC and UCLA. So to acquire a big name like that for the conference is great.
Although, James, it's still not a foregone conclusion about UCLA, though. I think next week is the vote to determine whether or not they can actually make the move, and it's sounding like it's not going to happen.
But USC will probably go. They don't have that against them.
Yeah, they don't have anything holding them back, though. UCLA does, not USC.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. You want to have UCLA there with the basketball. But about Dion, though, the way that he came up, basically, and he went from, Division II, Division I like that. That's a great thing. And I kept hearing the haters, you're leaving a HBCU school to go up to, Colorado. And I thought, why is it getting hate? He's getting what every coach deserves, which is a shot no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
People just turned it into a race issue.
Yeah, and that wasn't
one
right.
of their own. It was horrible. But that's what the media does anyway. But I'm so happy with Dion, and it'll be fun, I guess, next year if USC plays Colorado next season. I know it will be in Boulder if so.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great move, and I'm happy for Dion. I really am.
Colin?
I think you have to kind of look at this through both sides of the spectrum. I for one, am ecstatic for Dion, though. A guy who basically, bet on himself, went to JSU, put that school on the map as being, as one of the HBCUs, though, and again, putting that team on national television. So I feel good for Dion, though. And also, I think for him not having coaching experience, though, and him going and turning that program around, though, and kind of getting his name out there. So I'm happy for him, though. And I'm also happy, though, for the Buffalo's football program because this is a school who needs a shot in the arm, though. I read today from Front Office Sports, though, that their whole athletic department over the past year or two has lost over $18 million.
Wow.
In the football,
Oh.
in the football program has not been what it once was way back when.
Yeah.
They won, I think, one game all year in the entire season, and stuff like that. So I'm happy for Dion betting on himself, taking this chance, though, and him getting rewarded, though. And what this means, though, mainly, again, like I said, though, on a couple of shows, maybe not here, but on different platforms, though, is, again, not the biggest, football fan, college or the pros, though, but what it means for the rest of the athletic department, though, because now this money can go and help out with basketball and, volleyball, soccer, the other sports that, again, I find more interesting because I work in those sports on a day-to-day basis during the course of my year at both the D1 and D2 level. But I also do feel bad, though, for Jackson State, though, because like James said, it was kind of like one of their own coming home and coaching this program and getting the school exposure and the money coming in. I know that he was making $300,000 coaching the program. But I do feel bad for them, though, because it's almost kind of like what we talked about maybe a little bit on a different network about when Hawaii had canned, June Jones or had let go of some of their coaches and brought someone in who didn't understand the culture and Todd Graham and didn't know what Hawaii football represents, though. And kind of I feel that way about Jackson State because, again, it was one of their own coming in, to a HBCU. But I agree with James, though. I don't think that the comments of him being, a sellout or any of that is warranted because a coach who does a job like what Dion has done should be rewarded for his performance on the sidelines. And I think this is with any coach, though, in any sport, any level, that if you're doing your job like how Dion had done and you get that, opportunity to get a promotion, you jump at it. And I don't think that the comments are, again, I respect the opinions, but I just don't feel like it's warranted to say that it's a sellout because he's leaving, Jackson State to go to Colorado. I totally understand that or get it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I'm happy for Dion, though. But again, I'm more happy about what this will mean for all of Colorado athletics. And not just football, but again, the volleyball program, the soccer programs, the softball program, the baseball program, all the other sports that, again, I find more interesting at the college level than Saturday spent watching, hand dig, as I call it. I'm more happy about what it means for the whole department, not just the football program. And even I think that there was a 130% jump in followers on their Instagram page for the football program because of Dion's hiring. So this, again, will probably hopefully give them more media exposure. I did read, there was a story I read that Joel Klatt, who played at Colorado, he was interviewed by Front Office Sports. It was a very well done story and that he really thinks it's going to help out with their exposure, maybe on national TV. I know it's kind of another sidebar with the Pac-12 right now come 2024, but again, the exposure, recruiting more more kids will apply to the school. tuition costs and all that sort of stuff. But again, I'm more happy for Dion, but again, more thrilled for all of the Colorado athletic department. Again, not just the football program, but I do see where Jackson State is coming from, though, because again, before Dion, I only knew about Jackson State when they came and played USC in a men's basketball game. My first year being there, and I did their game and stuff like that. But either way, it's a good day if you're a Colorado athletics fan up there in Boulder. And again, I totally can understand though where Jackson State fans are coming from today, though, for sure.
All right, Sarge, how about you?
I mean, it goes for pretty much anyone. If there's a better job opportunity out there, like, you're going to take it and so forth.
Mhm.
I mean, Deion Sanders has put Jackson State on national level, even though
Yes.
they're Division II and so forth. And I'm happy for Deion Sanders, like, because he's doing what every American's going to do. Like, there's that opportunity, take it and so forth. But what is going to happen to HBCU, like, afterwards? I mean, that's where I'm at on that one. I think it's going to start. They're going to start going downhill. Before there could be where they were before Deion Sanders was in like about 4 years and so forth. But you know what? I am actually kind of very interested to see how Deion Sanders can do in a Division I and see how he can handle that and so forth. And be more in a diverse culture, especially in Colorado and so forth, and with the ACC, or not the ACC, the Pac-12. My bad. I apologize for that one. And it's going to be a fun story to watch. And I mean, I'll do it. Like, if they offer me like $12 million just to go to like Colorado and coach, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to get fired next year, okay, I got $12 million still.
Yeah, exactly. Chrissy, how about you?
Well, I'm glad for Dion. This is a guy who's bet on himself pretty much his entire career, being a two-sport star, he's playing in a World Series, playing in Super Bowls, that sort of thing. And he took a chance on himself going from broadcasting at the NFL Network to doing coaching. And I guess this Colorado offer was just too good for him to pass up. And I hope he has success there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Real quick.
Yeah,
I'm glad that James put this in our private chat on screen. 2 winning seasons for the Buffs since 2006.
Oh, God.
I think hopefully, and I think maybe not right away, but I think though, give Dion some time though. They're going to be having more than just 2 winning seasons, on his watch.
Exactly.
And then
Get the right players, it's all good.
And then Kent State's head coach quit to be Dion's offensive coordinator. How about that?
Woo!
Wow.
Amazing.
Well, and then you
So
got
the effect was being felt already.
Alabama's D coordinator, safeties coach, Charles Kelly joining the staff too. So
Wow. See,
yeah.
And Dion's
So
now coaching from Nick Saban. All right, then.
yeah, so we'll see. But no, I mean, I think Callan said it.
yes,
just like everybody else, you're going to go from one job to a better job. So,
Yep.
But Dion did say that he does have no ambition to coach NFL. So we'll see where that goes. But
Well,
good luck to him
he
in
keeps word on
Colorado.
Like, I just put this in a little private chat really quick.
I like
but
that.
One video that did like pop out to me was like how Deion Sanders approached it with his players.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
It was a class act right there. That's how you be a coach in real life. So
Yes.
don't be like
Especially
Lane
the
Kiffin.
coaches were the same way because not all of them will do that.
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Yep. Nope. I did see that video where he's sitting there. He goes, "All right, I'm here to hush the rumors. Yeah, I'm going to Colorado."
Even before he was going to Colorado, he said, "Yeah, I got an offer." I mean, like he
Yep.
was up front.
Yep. No
I mean,
doubt.
that's
He was
what
up
I
front
want
with
as
them.
a coach. Like, just be up front. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see where Jackson State goes. But with that being said, guys, we're at the hour mark here, so let's go around and get final thoughts. We haven't done this in a while. So, James, what's your final thoughts?
John Heyman on Twitter, please stop twittering out or tweeting out. Yesterday, he said Arson Judge appears headed to the Giants. And then today,
that
he
was
says
trending all day, by the way, yesterday.
Coke Hamels wants to pitch this season in the MLB.
Who did he screw up this time?
Coke Hamels. I don't know who that is. Coke Hamels and Arson
God.
Judge. It just shows you
Isaiah's
how
best friends.
Yes.
Yeah, it shows you how like these insiders. Bob Nightingale put his name out there too. Just
They
they're
screw up.
so irresponsible when it comes to rumors and what they hear and what
Mhm.
they think is true when they don't get it from the right source. It's just
Yeah.
awful. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Callan, how about you?
Arson Judge and Coke Hamels must be playing for Isaiah Leung's Dallas Jets or Vancouver Blues or the Tampa Bay Bulldogs or, what have you. But no, I mean, it was nice to come on and see everybody again. I know my appearances are very far few and in between right now in the middle of my year, but, hopefully we can make more of this happen as the year progresses on.
All right, Sarge.
All right. So, it's been a while since I've been on Sportsminute as well. So, thank you for having me. And I'm working on stuff on the side as well, and so forth. So, thank you again. So, and Isaiah, thank you for commenting. I mean, it was a pleasure.
Hey, by the way, Sarge, for the big game on Saturday, who are you rooting for in the Army-Navy game?
Air Force.
Triple threat. Let's go, baby.
All right, Christy, what's your final thoughts?
Oh, it's just great to come back on this show and just talk sports with everybody. So I had fun.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. Hopefully we can get our schedules lined up. We can keep doing this. But just keep checking out C2C. We got a lot of great things coming. And if you guys haven't checked out our newest show, C2C Rank 'em, Callan, I will apologize to you because I made a list of the best outfielders, and I forgot to put one guy on there who slipped my mind.
It's okay.
Yeah. So
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. He put Christopher Columbus as the first president. Don't worry.
That's because on Four Bros, I heard, and whatever I said it. I heard the first person of the United States, and Mess Around made a comment. So I'm like, okay, I was going to ask to repeat the question, and Mess Around made a face gesture. It's like, really? I'm like, okay, maybe I did hear the question right. So I said Christopher Columbus. They bust out laughing.
Did he fall out of his recliner?
Yeah. So, with that being said, guys, you never know what we're going to say, what's going to happen. We're all going to have our TikTok moments. But anyway, just keep checking us out. Like I said, we got a lot of shows coming and a lot of shows going. So, with that being said, thank you, James. Thank you, Callan, Christy, Sarge, Isaiah for chiming in, Chuck, and I think there was another guy, Anthony, I think. Thank you for chiming in. We'll see you all next week on Sportsman. Have a good one.
Isaiah loses again.
Bye, Felicia.
Nice.